The concept of Niyah, also spelled Niyah, intention, is of paramount and foundational importance in Islam. It is not merely a preliminary step but the very spiritual core that gives meaning and value to all actions. Here is a detailed breakdown of its importance. 1. The foundational hadith, the bedrock principle. The entire concept is built upon a famous and profoundly important hadith, prophetic saying, narrated by Umar ibn al-Khattab. Indeed, actions are but by intentions, and every person shall have only what they intended. Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. This hadith is so central that scholars state it constitutes 1/3 of Islamic knowledge because it deals with the relationship between the outward action and the inward reality. 2. Key areas of importance. A. It distinguishes acts of worship from mundane habits. This is the most critical function of Niyah. Without it, there is no distinction between sitting in a mosque and sitting in a mosque with the intention of i'tikaf, spiritual retreat. Washing your limbs and performing wudu, ablution, for prayer. Abstaining from food and fasting for the sake of Allah in Ramadan. The physical action is identical, but the Niyah transforms a simple, everyday act into an act of worship worthy of divine reward. B. It determines the acceptance and reward of deeds. Allah judges deeds based on the sincerity and correctness of the intention behind them. Sincerity, ikhlas, the action must be done sincerely for the pleasure of Allah alone, not to show off, riyah, or gain worldly praise. Correctness, the intention must specify the action correctly. For example, intending to pray the Dhuhr prayer is different from intending to pray Asr. As the hadith states, every person shall have only what they intended. If someone prays to be seen as pious, they will get the people's praise but no reward from Allah. C. It differentiates between obligatory and voluntary acts. A Niyah specifies the type of worship being performed. It distinguishes whether a fast is the obligatory fast of Ramadan or a voluntary fast on a Monday. It clarifies whether a prayer is an obligatory, fard, one or a supererogatory, nafil, one. D. It spiritualizes one's entire life. The scope of Niyah extends far beyond formal rituals. A believer can turn mundane, permissible, halal, activities into acts of worship by having a good intention. For example, eating, with the intention to gain strength to worship Allah. Sleeping, with the intention to rest in order to be able to pray and work effectively. Working, with the intention to earn a halal livelihood to support one's family and avoid begging. Studying, with the intention to gain beneficial knowledge to serve the community and understand Allah's creation. In this way, a Muslim's entire life can become a continuous act of worship, as long as their intentions are pure and aligned with seeking Allah's pleasure. E. It is the criterion on the Day of Judgment. On a day when worldly distinctions vanish, intentions will be laid bare. A good intention for a good deed that one was unable to carry out may still be rewarded by Allah's infinite mercy. Conversely, a bad intention, even if not acted upon, can be a source of sin or reward depending on the context, e.g., intending to do a bad deed, but then abstaining out of fear of Allah. Practical implications and common questions. Does the Niyah have to be spoken verbally? No. The majority of scholars agree that Niyah is an act of the heart. It is the conscious awareness and resolve within one's heart. Saying it verbally is permissible and can sometimes help to strengthen and affirm the intention, but it is not a requirement. When is it made? For most acts of worship, the Niyah must be present at the beginning of the act, e.g., when starting the prayer or beginning the fast at dawn. Can one reward be given for multiple intentions? Yes, if an action is done with multiple sincere intentions, it can be multiplied in reward. For example, visiting a sick relative can be done with the intentions of 1. Fulfilling the rights of kinship, 2. Following the sunnah of visiting the sick, and 3. Gaining the pleasure of Allah. In essence, Niyah is the soul of an action. It is the invisible driver that gives an action its spiritual life and value. It is what separates mechanical ritual from heartfelt devotion and transforms an entire lifetime from a series of mundane events into a unified journey towards God. It is the ultimate internal compass for a Muslim, ensuring that their outward actions are always aligned with their ultimate purpose, the worship and pleasure of Allah.